So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar, brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
All right, listen up, everybody. This is former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're listening to the D-Line, only on Disruption Networks. That's the D. Do it now. The
D-Line. Disruption Network's weekly football podcast. With your host, Chicken.
I will say, one of the greatest games I've seen this year.
Caleb.
There was no takeaways from that game. I mean, the takeaways were that we should have changed the channel earlier in the night.
And Sil.
Just fucking tit for tat, going back and forth, just a battle.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the D-Line.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, gentlemen. I haven't seen you guys since,
since before.
Two weeks ago.
Yeah. About a decade ago.
A decade ago. It
seems like forever.
Well, Silver was gone 2 weeks ago. We had Zach Bonanza.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Silver, you haven't filled that chair in a while.
It's
you got the little
I got
ones,
my ass print back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How was the Christmas concert? Good? Everything go well at the Christmas concert?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a real
my daughter plays flute, so you know.
Oh, like Daddy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wasn't gonna go there. It's his daughter, man.
Well, your mom called.
Just before the show.
Silver's mom called about 2 minutes before the show started, so we got that out of the way for the day.
I mean, that's good. That's good luck.
Yeah, right. Thanks,
all is well again. All is well again, gentlemen. So we're back, but we're back with a lot of news.
I do want to say though, like I went to the New Year's celebration downtown. And I gotta say, good job, Utica.
Yeah,
that's great,
job.
man.
Like they did a great job down there. It was fun.
It looked like, you know, I was working upstairs at Ocean Blue, and we had a great crowd there. And early in the night, of course, 7:00 comes around, and don't you fucking know that we had? I know you guys heard the alerts, the squalls they were calling for the snow.
Yep.
It looked like a fucking whiteout out there, and I'm like, God damn it! This could have been this is going to be a great event, and it's going to get fucking ruined by a little bit of snow, you know. And don't you know, it cleared up, and there was a mass of people down there. It was a good crowd.
Yeah.
It looked like a Saranac Thursday down there, you know.
It was a good time. It was good to
awesome.
do something outside of Varick Street.
Yeah,
and a good crowd. It was a lot of fun. It was neat you felt proud of your city for a little bit, and that fireworks display was great.
Yeah, they did an awesome job with the fireworks. It wasn't just, you know, a pop or two here. They did a really good job with it. I actually
not just a bunch of guys on a trampoline holding sparklers.
No,
yeah, exactly.
It was cool for the return fire.
Right. Yeah. And you know what, too? I give them a lot of credit. They had the I think this is fairly custom on New Year's. They had the swearing in of the new council members and the mayor again, the re-swearing in of that. You know, a couple of the council members came to Ocean Blue for food afterwards before they went down. It was nice to see them getting involved in that kind of circle. I know I have a friend that works at Modus, and a couple of people said that they did a lot of the new Utica representatives were at Modus and things like that. So it's nice to see them involved in the event. It was a great event for the city, and I think like you said, Chicken, I as well tip my hat to them as well.
Yeah. And you had the Mo show going on at the time, and it was just a lot of life in the city. It was really cool to see in the wintertime, which we don't see too often.
No.
around here,
right.
which is great. So kudos to them.
And good for all those fucking people because it's such a thing. We've said this about the city of Utica before, and I've said it on Disruption. We're all on Disruption, but on EC Radio before. Good for people not to do the typical. I call it the typical Utica of like. Well, like, yeah, I could go, but like, I'm just too good for that. Yeah. No, people went down and they enjoyed the event. And you know what? When you go to those events, hey, you know what? No shit, they're actually fun. Yeah. You know, like, go and enjoy the events. So that's my soapbox on that.
My mom was down there. She had a great time.
I bet she was. Yeah. Right, just
South
down
Street was only a couple blocks down.
Just down from her favorite corner, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. The busy corner, of course, right? So new year, new coaches. We might as well start right on the coaching carousel going on right now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we had four voids, four coaching voids by the end of the season on Monday.
Today, Junior.
Yeah, I know, right? In New York, Washington, Cleveland, and Carolina, and everybody's waiting with bated breath for the coaching saga in Dallas. We could officially say that the Dallas job is open for business because Jason Garrett's contract is expired. Okay, it expired after the last day of the season.
I don't get what they're doing in Dallas.
It expires the 14th.
Oh, the 14th. Pardon me.
Why wait this long? When you got all these coaches interviewing right now, don't you want to be right there in the mix? I know that's why a lot of people like the coaches go before the season's end because now they want to get on that, top candidates.
Yeah, you're also doing it doesn't seem like Dallas has done any sort of. I'm sure they have, but it doesn't seem like they've done a lot of homework either.
There's a lot of history with Jason Garrett. Not only is a QB, and a coordinator and a head coach, but his dad also worked there. For Jerry Jones. So I see he's trying to do the right thing. I am hearing rumbles that they're trying to get him in the office. The front office.
Yeah.
But
maybe you're right. Why not just?
I mean, why are you? I mean, coaches come and go. I mean, we've seen coaches that have been there for decades.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
This is a guy that's been there for decades. Though.
Tom Landry.
Yeah.
Tom Landry. What they did. Tom Landry to me is, and Jimmy Johnson. Now those two guys, I can see doing that for.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, no.
Both those guys got let go like nobody's business.
Right, exactly. Exactly. They're bye, you're gone.
Right.
And like Jason Garrett hasn't done anything.
Well, the other issue you run into too with keeping Garrett around, and you're right, Chicken. So that's something I read too. And Garrett was a backup quarterback there for a long time too. Mm-hmm. He backed up Bateman forever. And so you do have your allegiances, but here's the problem that any head coach. The first question my agent would be asking if I was interviewing for that job would be, well, I now answer to Jerry Jones, and now do I also have to answer to Jason Garrett, the former head coach of this team, the guy whose personnel packages are all over this team, the guy who probably brought certain players in with Jerry Jones and the relationship he had with Jerry Jones because of that relationship. Is he going to be forced upon me? I would want total control.
And don't forget, you got Stephen Jones.
Yeah, and you have Stephen Jones too. That's another great point, Chicken. I mean, you have three people that you're going to have to answer to, whereas typically you answer to one, and that's the owner. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be it's a very weird situation, and I think that's why you're not like.
Well, normally you don't have to answer to the owner. Normally, the owner.
General manager,
the general manager.
It's becoming a lot more popular though with these owners. A la the Jacksonville situation now, the New York Jets.
Dan Snyder.
Yeah, Dan Snyder. Happy holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. So, but it'll be interesting to see where this Dallas job goes. I mean, if you really want to make a splash, the splash for me would be Lincoln Riley or Matt Rule. I would go to the college ranks. I would bring somebody from the college ranks.
Rule's a favorite for the Giants, is he not?
Rule would be a favorite for the Giants, and that makes sense. I think it's a very player personnel wise. Obviously Dallas is probably your most desirable place to go on this sheet.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree because of what you mentioned before with Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, and that rigmarole that you're not going to be able to run the team the way you want to run the team. So I feel like that is not the marketing, the folklore of the Cowboys being America's team, all that crap. I get it.
Huge spotlight.
And the talent they have a lot of talent.
Dude, they got a shit ton of talent. Jerry Jones is actually fucking drafted really well the past.
But you're
10 years.
You're better off going with a shitty team if you're a young coach, because if you don't do it with this team, you're done forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't do it with this team...
Well, hang on. Jason Garrett, he keeps getting fucking...
But that's Jason Garrett.
Extended career.
He knows who he has in Garrett. But when you get somebody new in there, a younger coach...
you got at least 2 years for the most part. Most of the time. Adam Gase still has a job.
Freddie Kitchens don't. Freddie Kitchens don't.
Right.
You know, I look at teams like who do we got here with vacancies?
You have the Washington, Cleveland, Carolina, and New York.
Right.
And potentially Dallas.
Well, no, Washington's
off. I'm sorry. Washington's off the board.
And we were talking about this before we went on the show. I like what Washington did there with Rivera and then Pick and Del Rio. I feel like they're off the same cloth. I mean, both these guys been to Super Bowls.
Hard-nosed,
good coordinators.
Defensive minders.
Yes, they've both been head coaches.
They played together too, I believe, didn't they?
No, well, Rivera was from the Bears, and Del Rio was a Viking.
Viking,
yeah.
Yeah, they played against each other for many years.
Right.
I believe Del Rio got a ring with Denver, didn't he?
He might have, I don't know.
I think he got a ring as defensive coordinator with Denver, and Rivera's been to 3 Super Bowls, got one with the Bears in '85, but been to 2 Super Bowls since then.
Right.
So I like that they got that pedigree of coach, but also what they did is they got 2 other teams in their division looking for coaches.
Yeah.
And they took those 2 guys away.
You just took the 2 best defensive coordinators out of the free agent coaches off the market.
Well,
love that.
That brings me to a point I was going to make too about Jason Garrett. This is an interesting little game of posturing here too that they're playing, because not for nothing, I had heard some quiet whispers about maybe Garrett interviewing for the Giants job. Okay, there's a couple of different
people because he played for
bullshit on that.
Couple different places like that. But this is also an interesting situation. You say, okay, the deal runs out the 14th, and they're not moving on him now. Usually, your exit. He hasn't even finished his exit meetings with players. I saw that report today. He hasn't, which is kind of surprising. At this point.
Jerry Jones letting him finish his coaching duties.
But this is where he's not getting that. They're not getting the chance to interview guys, as well as he's not getting a chance to interview anywhere else either. Right. So it's a little bit of game of posturing. I think. I don't think Jerry wants to see him go. I think it would. Jerry would cry if he went to New York.
All right, let's say they just outright fire him. Do you see Jason Garrett being an O coordinator next year anywhere?
No, I never see. He'll never be a coordinator anywhere. He would be a head coach. He'll never go back.
Do you see him head coaching?
No.
So that's why I'm like, he is pretty much going to. And do you see him in the booth somewhere?
No.
So that's why I'm like, this guy is literally he needs a front office job right now just to have
he may have to
be employed next year.
He may have to take a step back as like a quarterback's coach or something.
He would never go back to a coordinator job. There's no shot he would go back. He's coached the Dallas Cowboys for 10 years. There's no way that guy.
I don't think anybody else is going to give him a chance because he's been barely mediocre. His best seasons have been mediocre.
There are head coaches that have stepped down.
Very rarely do they revert.
Ron Marinelli.
Very rare. Rob Marinelli. I mean, come on. You had to. He was awful. He had one season. He was
the Rams D coordinator there.
Schwartz.
Wade Phillips. He'll probably be jobless too, I would imagine.
I'm surprised more teams aren't looking at Schwartz. I mean, he's everywhere he's been. He's had a great defense.
A lot of injuries this year, but they've been really bad.
Yeah,
you know.
I know, and you know what? Though, like for the same reason you were saying that. Oh my God! For the
Wade
Steelers,
Phillips?
No, for the Steelers should have been coach of the year because
Tomlin,
the way he's kept that team going. Well, look at what they've been doing in Philly.
My opinion's changed in the last few weeks, by the way.
Philly's got 24 guys on IR,
right,
and they're still going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Granted, in that fucked up conference or division there, that the Bears would have owned that division,
right? Yeah,
but they still find a way to win, and they still. Like, they have that team believing. And like, why are we not talking about him for coach of the year? You know, I don't think he deserves it. I think there's obviously better choices. But, like, man, to keep that team rolling. And 3 years in a row, they backed in the playoffs. And they made a little bit of a push going into playoffs each and one of those years.
I think the reason you're not seeing guys like you're talking about, Chicken, your Jim Schwartzes of the world and stuff like that, being head coaches is, A, they've got their chance already. B, I just think that there's more exciting, intriguing names to go after.
I don't understand, nothing against Ron Rivera, but 3 winning seasons out of 9, and he is the first coach hired. How is he that a hot commodity?
He also had a playoff or a Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's got a young quarterback with that.
He's got baseball numbers.
But you look at what he did with Cam Newton. Now you go bring him with Haskins.
He's had 4 offensive coordinators in his tenure.
The one scary thing that I bring up with Haskins, that happens a lot with coaches, and a lot with head coaches. And Ron Rivera is a veteran coach. You're not bringing in Matt Rule here, who's got to go with what you got, or Lincoln Riley, who's got to go with what you got. Ron Rivera is the type of coach, and veteran coaches want their personnel. They must have, obviously, the front office drafted Dwayne Haskins. That's come out and been pretty well known in Washington. Jay Gruden's staff did not want Dwayne Haskins. But Ron Rivera might want his guy pretty soon, and the leash is going to be short on Haskins. So this could be another wasted pick for the Redskins. I say this very early. I say this without, we don't know the fact of, obviously everything's going to be, peaches and fucking rainbows right now with Haskins and Rivera, but deep down inside, they usually want their own quarterback. You want to lay your career on the line with your own quarterback. So it's very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see where that goes. I think they're going to blow this team up, though.
Well, I want to, in regards to Washington, I can't believe we're going to actually have another discussion about these guys. They need to get rid of their medical staff.
They did. They did. They fired him finally.
Okay,
17 years.
When did that happen? Because as of yesterday, it didn't happen.
Schefter tweeted it, and Schefter confirm. You can confirm
Who's
this.
medical staff?
Washington.
Oh, okay.
They're horrible.
They must have hired the old Bears medical staff.
You're right. Yeah, no, but they've been there that long.
The craziest part is their head physician. The second physician in charge is Dr. James Andrews. Dr. James Andrews is the guru in baseball. Mm-hmm. He's the Tommy John guy. James Andrews is Tommy John, and he performs, ACLs and stuff like that, like this.
Right.
But yet they kept keeping this other guy around, and they always skipped over James Andrews. They never promoted him, and he always wanted the job. It was the one thing he wanted. His office is based in Birmingham, Alabama. He agreed a few years ago that if the Redskins fired the rest of the staff, he would move his practice to Washington. Mm-hmm. Because he said it's more conducive, obviously, for the people I'm treating on the East Coast as well.
Right.
Alabama's not conducive for anybody, but they would not hire him. And now they're and like you said, injuries. The injury problem there is insane.
Well, it got me thinking about the whole Trent Williams thing, how the guy has a lump on his head for fucking 6 years, and they weren't concerned. And it was cancerous.
Yeah.
So, I really question their ethics as to just trying to get guys on the fucking field, not really caring about the player themselves.
Yeah.
Now that being said, and this is the same group, I mean, they could be blamed for why RG3, his career has kind of...
That's a great point.
You're 100% right.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Because RG3 dealt with a lot of concussion problems, and the ACLs.
And they kept him in that game where he got hurt, and then he was out for the whole next year. Mm-hmm. Like, you start to wonder if they handled RG3 correctly and treated him correctly, like he could have had a much different career.
I do give them credit with the Rivera hire in the organizational structure, because Ron Rivera is a good hire because he's dealt with a controversial owner with Jerry Richardson, with everything that went down with him. All right, Dan Snyder is a controversial owner. Okay, and he's not an easy guy to work for. Dan Snyder, Silbert, that I referenced it earlier, Dan Snyder went to the podium today to introduce Ron Rivera as head coach and wish the media a happy Thanksgiving. That's what you're dealing with there.
It's like Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, this is the same guy who demanded that they draft Robert Griffin III. They did not, another quarterback that the coaching personnel did not want at the time. Haskins as well.
That's why they picked up Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, no kidding.
Ron Rivera his whole career lived and died by Cam Newton. I mean, if Cam Newton did good, they had a winning season. So Cam Newton, only 3 winning seasons out of the past 9 himself.
Yeah.
So I don't get the hype around.
That's where I like the hire of Ron Rivera for this, is because they got Dwayne Haskins, and he's that running first style quarterback.
They got to get a QB guru. Is what they need.
Well, and being that he dealt with Cam Newton right from he got drafted, and Cam Newton's head is a little bit more imploded than this kid. I mean, they're both first rounders,
right.
But Cam Newton was first overall.
Yeah, 1-1.
Yeah, so there's a different mindset there.
Yeah.
Whereas this Haskins kid's still trying to ball out and trying to earn that position. Right. I like that position that he's in. Right?
They are. I believe, John, and correct me if I'm wrong if you've seen something different on this, but I believe that Washington is keeping Kevin O'Connell, the offensive coordinator. They should. He did well.
Wonders.
He did well. Kevin O'Connell
they haven't
was
fired
kind of
him yet. Yes, they haven't fired him yet.
He was kind of a quarterback guru. He was a quarterback. He was Tom Brady's backup for like 3 or 4 years, and then he ended up getting released, and he went into coaching, and he started kind of where a lot of quarterback coaches do, starting to work with guys coming out of college and working with those quarterbacks preparing for the draft. Then he became a quarterback coach in Minnesota. And then he became an OC. He became the OC quarterback coach in Washington.
Right. So that's. I'm just waiting to see what they do. I I want him to keep him.
Yeah.
I really think they should.
I think it's smart, yeah.
And we discussed this, I believe, when Sil was at his concert and we were talking with Zach. And Zach kind of knows more about football than Sil. So we kind of but we were talking about when a coach, we were talking more like a younger coach like
McVay or somebody along those lines.
actually, for the Bears, Nagy, we were talking about when they kept Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how like when these young guys come in and pick up all their coordinators, and it's like sometimes I don't mind that like I like that they kept Vic Fangio
Carryover, yeah.
and like because now you don't have to worry about that part of the field is already taken care of. Now you just go in there and you handle the offense and the special teams and
Chicken. After we had that conversation, you see a lot of I forgot. Oh, it was Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota had, I believe, it was 5 different offensive coordinators in his first 5 seasons. That just doesn't work. Like you aren't going to get comfortable in that, and that's why I think it's good. That's why I think it would be good to keep O'Connell. It's not too much change for Haskins. So. But let's talk. Let's talk about some of these other jobs. Shall we talk about the? I was very surprised that not very surprised, but I was a little bit shocked that Kitchens was gone. But I mean, you could just see it had to happen toward the end of the season.
It was weird.
I'm
still. How do you not give the guy a second chance? A second year.
I just feel like he totally lost that locker room. Like there's no coming back.
The coach from the beginning. I questioned his. That hire, I didn't think that was a smart hire right from the get go.
And it's weird coming from John Dorsey. Also lost his job. Who was the guru of building these Kansas City Chiefs teams. So he basically was fired or resigned a few days after Kitchens after having a debate about the direction of the organization. And he did not agree with it. So he is gone as well. I'm not sure what the structure is going to be there. Cleveland has a very analytical front office. They were one of the first to jump on that analytical train. They actually employ the Paul DePodesta, who was the basis for the movie Moneyball in baseball.
Right.
So he is in that front office there. So it's kind of an analytical approach with things. Who knows kind of where that GM route will go? But this is becoming more of the norm. You go as your GM goes with these head coaches. That's why I'm very surprised. And we'll double back to Cleveland, but with the Giants, Pat Shurmur gets fired. I think Dave Gettleman's the one who deserves to get fired more than Pat Shurmur, the GM of the Giants. All right, I don't think it makes any sense to bring Gettleman back, and I'm very interested to see who this next head coach is going to be there, because I don't know if it makes it desirable with Gettleman there. I don't know if it's a desirable job for these guys. So we'll see.
It's going to be interesting. I like that again that the Redskins kind of hogged up 2 experienced coaches, 2 great coordinators.
I think our video has ended.
No, did it?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting on. This live video has ended.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. What happened?
I don't know.
Somehow.
I see we're still live. What happened?
On both ends of mine, live video has ended. And it's now it's restarting. Awesome. I wonder what happened.
Uh-oh.
Has anything we've said been taken down?
Well, somebody just chimed in, so a few minutes ago. Like
2 minutes ago.
Was what we're saying right now live still?
It was like Zach liked the post, and then boom.
Oh,
gone.
Good job, Zach. Good job. Well, let's just keep going, and I'll see if I can get back up.
Hey, Zach. Now, I'm getting issues with the stream. It's us too. Well, he's gonna try and get it back up. So, we got to be at least recording podcast wise, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
Sweet.
Everything else, and we're still up here going, but
okay. So, should we go back to the Giants?
Yeah.
Where were we?
Well, I was talking about how Pat Shurmur gets fired in New York, but Dave Gettleman doesn't. And Dave Gettleman, I think, is to blame for a lot of these problems that they're having in New York. I think his roster that he's put together has been less than stellar. I think Pat Shurmur was a horrible hire to start with before. I think it was it felt very like a very forced hire. And I'm interested to see who's going to be the move in New York. I mean, I would say your candidates are Matt Rule, as well as I've heard. You hear about everybody really at this point of the season. You're going to hear when you talk about coaching vacancies, you hear those like 5 that you always are going to be interviewed somewhere. And for me this year, it's Lincoln Riley, Matt Rule, Eric Bieniemy, Eric Sala, the defensive coordinator in San Francisco, could be a very, very interesting hire, and last but not least, the lovely Urban Meyer. It looks more and more today. I'm taking this a little bit more seriously today. I did not think that.
Did you say Josh McDaniel?
And Josh McDaniel. Josh McDaniels is an important one too. So I think really the New York job would come down to McDaniels and Rule.
Is he going to want to leave?
That's what I'm saying, John. Can you give him enough?
Is he going to want to leave the Patriots?
I don't know.
Wasn't he supposed to be? That was supposed to be you when they're a younger coach.
You got at least 2.
No, that was recorded.
Hi, chicken.
Hey, how are you?
I think maybe now it's maybe we're getting to the point now where it's time to start thinking about leaving. Maybe the Giants' job is fairly desirable.
It's a big platform.
A top 5 can do it. Obviously you kind of need to revamp the receiving core a little bit. You do have a very good tight end. You hope that Sterling Shepard maybe comes a little bit more into his own coming up here. Your offensive line is obviously, it's never been good there. So, we'll see. I think maybe it makes a little bit more sense for a Rule than a McDaniels there. Mm-hmm. But I don't think if McDaniels doesn't take that job, I don't think he goes to Cleveland because I think he was already offered that job a couple times. It's never been good there. So
I think we're back up.
All right, great.
All right, let me hit refresh.
I think he's been offered that. I think he's been offered that job a couple times, and he hasn't taken it yet. I don't think he wants to go to Cleveland. The appealing thing about Cleveland now, though, is no GM. There's no GM in place.
Right.
So you could call the shots if you're a head coach. If Urban Meyer were to go there, is Urban Meyer the type that is going to want to call his shots? Probably, because he's used to recruiting. Yeah. He's called his shots forever. Right. Now, though, is no GM. There's no GM in place.
Okay. I think we're back up.
All right.
I had to check it.
All right.
Sorry. It's like you're talking to yourself.
We're back. We're back.
Stop talking to yourself.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. So let's get back on our train here. All right. Let's talk about this Cleveland job. Okay. So
high profile, good
players, good group of players.
Good players in solid community. You got a great fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So is it desirable? Yes, I say
Cleveland?
yes. Yeah,
I'd be licking my chops if I were in Cleveland. If I were, I'm just trying to think like who would be the perfect fit. I'm looking for a McVay type, a guy that like a player's coach, but that isn't going to get run over. Mm-hmm. I like McVay. I like the way he brings a little like. He didn't do very well this year. Obviously, they had a little downturn.
That makes you wonder about the whole Wade Phillips thing. But go ahead, Cleveland.
But if I'm looking at it, you got a great talent in that team. Like you said, you got a great fan base. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is get them to the playoffs, and you're a god in that town. So I think I'm looking offensive-minded coach for that team.
My pick is Urban Meyer. I think it's going to be Urban Meyer.
Do you think he will take?
I have a feeling.
Do you think a guy like
it's Ohio? It's Ohio.
Yeah,
where he's living.
You'd be a god.
He wanted to spend more time with his family.
Yeah.
Didn't want to coach at Ohio State anymore, which is dog shit. That's what Paul Pasqualoni said that today too. Paul Pasqualoni retired today, defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, former Syracuse football head coach. But Urban Meyer makes sense, man, and he would invigorate that place. Mm-hmm. They would be jumping, and also I think he could build rapport with. He did a great job with college players, and Odell and Jarvis Landry are basically college players with their maturity level.
Right.
So I really think that this could be something. I think Baker Mayfield would instantly respect him. I think this could be a match made in heaven here, and I think it would be awesome for them.
It would be somebody that these guys would respect. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things like with Freddie Kitchen was like, they knew him from being there, but like I just didn't feel like he commanded that respect, especially with this many egos on that team. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of people were like questioning. Well, I mean, when you got Odell Beckham on your team and he's getting 3 catches a game, I mean that's just absurd.
Yeah,
like you're grossly misusing that team.
Yeah.
Right.
It's time to go for that sexy pick.
Yep.
That swaggy pick at head coach, not Freddie Kitchens, not Hugh Jackson. He was a little bit swaggy when he came in, but it's time to really fucking go for that guy.
Yeah.
It's time to really lay your balls on the line and go for that big guy.
And the good news is they don't have to play. There's no NFL team in South Carolina, so he should be okay because Clemson's not in the league.
Well, I was going to say Harbaugh. What about Harbaugh?
Well, he would suck against the Detroit Lions.
Or you look at Jim Harbaugh, like coming in a team like that, like.
You just don't like Jim Harbaugh's kind of luster is worn off. I'm surprised he wasn't fired yesterday after Michigan's lost to Alabama. I'm surprised that hasn't come down yet from the boosters at Michigan because that's a program that's heavily booster driven and those people don't stand for shit. When their head coach is not successful, they get him out of there.
Yeah, maybe a big game. They're not good.
Yeah.
So and it's like your one job is to fucking beat Ohio State and you fucking haven't done it once. You know, it's like.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Urban Meyer makes a little bit more sense, going down that Cleveland route. I just hope Cleveland. I heard Cleveland was interviewing the other day. They were interviewing a special teams coordinator from somewhere. I forgot where, but it's just like let's not like Cleveland. It's over with trying to go for that rug and tug under the radar guy.
I love rug.
Guy you named. Offensive coordinator 4 weeks before the end of the season last year. It's time to stop trying to reinvent the wheel. And I can't say that Urban Meyer is proven, but it's sexy. It's cool. It's that hire that's going to get people excited. It's like
in seats. Yeah. Okay.
It's like picking Baker Mayfield 1-1. And if you're going to do it, go all in, Jimmy Haslam. Now is the time. And this is a perfect chance because you have no GM. Urban Meyer would have the opportunity to command his roster as well.
Wow, it says it in a burp.
Yeah. So that would be my pick going into Cleveland. And then New York, I think it's going to be Rule. I don't think it's McDaniels. I think McDaniels is going to stay.
Yeah, with Belichick being, on the cusp of retirement. I mean, he's in his 70s.
Yeah. Still sharp as a tack, though. It's so sad.
Sorry to hear Sam Weiss died today at 74.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Cincinnati Bengals head coach. Mm-hmm. But so he's 1, maybe 2 years. I mean, this could be his last. You don't know.
Yeah.
He's the one that does 1 year deals. Yeah. So
club friendly 1 year deals too. Him and Tom Brady are all about those. So
well, I mean, is it safe to say that Eric Bieniemy is going to be in Carolina? I mean, they interviewed him for the second time.
Yeah, I would say. I think that's got to be your hire there. I think that would be such a smart hire by them.
Nothing against.
It's a sexy coordinator.
That's 3 years in a row.
Young QB
that somebody's hired the Kansas City offensive coordinator.
Right.
Going back to Doug Peterson, and Peterson obviously did well. Mm-hmm. Nagy did okay the first year.
He still has not had a losing season.
No, it's true. True.
Yeah.
8-8.
That's why don't people get knocking on him.
I just wonder what like if they're following that same suit as New England. Where every year everyone takes goes after all their coordinators. Mm. They don't really amount to much. Like we're seeing that in Detroit.
Yeah. It hasn't changed. Has any of the New England coordinators done well? I mean, even when McDaniels was, in Denver. No, it's like,
and that's why I try to stay away from them because they're like me, like I'm a GM. But if I were a GM, I would be a little apprehensive because
I don't.
And it's kind of that Andy Reid is doing pretty much the same thing. Like,
see, that's the thing. Andy Reid is breeding winners. Bill Belichick is the only winner there.
Yeah.
It's just
I teach him everything I know, and not.
He is the opposite of the fucking George Seifert fucking tree.
I teach
Bill Walsh tree,
everything they know, but not everything I know.
Right.
He always leaves those little tricks in his pocket.
Yep.
And that's what you should do because eventually you're going to be playing against these guys.
Yeah.
But I mean that's
your most successful.
I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because he is going against one of his disciples in the wild card this weekend.
Yeah,
Vrabel. And
I think it's
going to be interesting to see that. So there you go. Vrabel.
No, it's not Vrabel.
No. We're saying Vrabel being one of the
finally a coordinator who's winning.
He's one of them, but the best is probably Bill O'Brien.
What? Oh my God, I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that
before he took the Penn State job. He was Bill O'Brien was there. He took the Penn State job from when he was a coordinator in New England. That's probably your best. I mean, that's not. I mean, I'm not sold on Bill O'Brien.
I'm not sold on Bill O'Brien either. I don't consider him a good coach. I don't.
That's why I'm sticking with Vrabel as my answer.
Right.
But again, it's a I can't fight you on
Bill
that. Bill
O'Brien could get fired if they lose this playoff game.
Yeah. I mean, I also
you're right. Vrabel's second year? Or is this his
this would be a second. Yeah.
And playoffs 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
Nope.
Changed the whole identity of that team.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
But you knew a guy like Vrabel, though. I mean,
yeah.
Played for him. Like this guy was just tough as nails.
Yeah.
Played both sides of the ball. So
Vrabel immediately into coaching too. Vrabel,
yeah.
The other thing about Vrabel too is Vrabel spent Vrabel really is. I would not call him a Belichick disciple. I would call him more of an Andy Reid disciple because he coached for Reid for a long time in Kansas City. That's where his coaching career got started, was Kansas City. So I mean, yeah, he played for Bill. I guess that's it's a little something, but like,
and he played in Kansas City, so he came from both worlds.
So I mean, that's the best. I mean, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll take that. So
Andy Reid's a Marty Schottenheimer of our generation.
Right.
If people don't understand what that means they have a great team every year and go to the playoffs and been a dominant team, but never wins it. And
if Andy Reid were a quarterback, he'd be Dan Marino.
Yeah,
he'd be
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
So I could get on board. I would go Bieniemy, or like my dark horse would be like McCarthy in Carolina. I don't think they're going to go with an experienced coach. I think Bieniemy is the perfect fit there. Dallas would be if Garrett goes. I think Lincoln Riley's the guy for the job, the Oklahoma head coach. I don't think it's going to be very sought after job by a lot of people. I don't think it's going to be a job that people are going to want. Two other names to look out for in Dallas and two other coordinators that could be kind of curveball type guys is if you don't want to disrupt things too much, you name Kellen Moore the head coach. I don't see that happening, but it could happen. And the other guy that I've heard is getting a little bit of an opportunity to interview is Kevin Stefanski, the offensive coordinator in Minnesota. And I don't think this is his year. I think next year could be his year if Minnesota has a good year again next year. So we'll see. Coaching wise, I mean it's interesting. I always love the coaching, the interviews and the coaching, the posturing by organizations and stuff. So.
Now, as much as I want to see San Fran's defense get fucking picked apart, now this is what his first year as a D coordinator.
Solid. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. I wouldn't hire that guy now.
So that's the thing. Our team's going to still buy into that theory. Oh, we had a good year. He's a young coordinator. Let's get him. Or are they past that? Do they want the experience?
Well, and you get the misfires too, like the Adam Gases of the world.
Yeah.
And then we still see Adam Gase still getting. And I still say if the Jets were to let Gase go, and I think he might end up in Dallas. I don't know why, but I feel like he would end up in Dallas.
I'm baffled as to how Doug Marrone still has a job.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm going to say because
mediocre in fucking Syracuse, mediocre in Buffalo.
Yes,
he's 10 times better as a coordinator.
But here I'm going to give you the reasons. Mediocre in Syracuse. You might as well just won the NCAA championship because Syracuse has been so god awful before that. So bringing them up to mediocre, you crushed it.
Right.
Same thing with the Bills. At the time when he took over the Bills were garbage, and then he started bringing them back. They had they were okay. They were a decent team.
He had an 8-8 year in Buffalo.
Yeah, which in Buffalo, that's a great year.
With a misfit cast of characters, too.
6-6 year into a bowl game in Syracuse.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I don't see
guy loves to be 500.
Right.
Jesse's checking in. He's saying, can't tell if it's a guy or girl. I'm sorry. No.
Jeez.
Genderfy, but they're saying Chiefs coordinator would be best for Carolina. And we were just talking about that. And
agreed.
I nothing against Miami. I like him. It's just that 1 year coordinator situation and then moving to
Bieniemy? No, he's been there too.
Yeah, he's been there
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
He was there for Mahomes' first year.
He came in there after Nagy left.
Yeah, yep. And that was the big thing last year that they didn't get the job. Interesting to note too about Matt Rule, and I keep bringing this name up, the head coach at Baylor, who I think is going to be the Giants' next head coach. Matt Rule turned down. Matt Rule knowed the Jets. He said no to the Jets last year because the Jets did not want to give him certain oversee about about certain parts of the roster. They didn't want to give him full carte blanche to do what he wanted, and he said no. So I mean, it could be interesting. That could kind of ruin things for the Giants because they won't get rid of goddamn Dave Gettleman. All right, Dave Gettleman, who is, you have to in sports nowadays adapt at least some sort of an analytical approach. Teams have always had an analytical approach. I am a staunch believer in that. But at the same time, Dave Gettleman was shit on for not taking an analytical approach 2 years ago. Now people are giving him credit. And in his end of the season interview the other day, he said, "Yeah, we got a bunch of computer guys now." This guy doesn't get it. He doesn't get where the game is going. The game is going in an analytical direction, as all other sports are. The numbers mean a little bit more when you're talking about free agents, when you're talking about trades, when you're talking about practice squad players, when you're talking about college performance. You have to adapt at least a little bit of it. Now, am I a full believer in it? No.
I was just going to say.
Am I a full believer in it? No. I'm not.
I feel a lot of times some teams get too analytical, and they look at age and talent and things like that, and they leave out things like heart. And these guys that inspire other players on the team, and because I look at certain players that wouldn't even be on a roster, but because they play with that, like we look at Russell Wilson, like you look at his.
You want to talk about Russell Wilson right now?
Well, I'm just saying, look at his size and
gonna put his boner to the side.
These guys they're small. They don't. Well, we seen it with Flutie years ago. That he would lose a job to the 6'5" prototypical quarterback that could throw the ball, 70 yards down the field. But when it came down to game time and when it came down to heart, who motivated the players to play to the top of their ability? Mm-hmm. And that's what I feel a lot of these players, these coaches and GMs don't look at.
Now here's where my OK Boomer segment goes, because I think analytics are fucking killing the game. Mm-hmm. I am a field position. Punt it on fourth down. Yeah. Controlling the clock, running the ball. Fucking kind of guy. Your defense is gonna win you the game. And I just nowadays, fucking teams are going for it on 4th and 7 on their own fucking 38-yard line. Blows my mind.
Agreed. I think
my mind.
I would agree with you, John. I think you're spot on with that. I think that's a great take on it. My point with the analytics, and the only small justification I have for them is not in that situation. My thing is, and teams have done this forever, but my idea is when you bring analytics into the game is when you're making roster decisions. I guess certain numbers mean certain things for different players, but they've always looked at the numbers. I'm not an in-game analytic guy, and I can get totally on board with you about that. But it's time to start at least, for some of these GMs to start kind of. You can't use gut feel all the time. You can't sit across the table and just use gut feel.
I get that, but there's certain guys like
I understand.
Like T-Suggs, like Terrell Suggs. Like a lot of teams will say, well, okay, this guy's old, doesn't really have it. But then like when the Chiefs picked him up, I'm like, this is great.
That was such a smart move for them. You're going into the playoffs. You got a guy with a shit ton of experience who's going to fire the players up around you. It was a great move at the right time.
Absolutely. He's a leader. And then you got Tyrann Mathieu behind you. Yeah. So then all of a sudden, like this Chiefs defense is getting a little fired.
He was springing around the other, like 2 weeks ago. I watched him I think I were on Sunday Night Football maybe 2 weeks ago, and I watched. He was dingy-danging around the field. He was all over the place. So, yeah, he was good. So,
and then you look at Suggs and you look at Tyrann Mathieu and you look at like this team that they're building, and that affects the guys around them. The guys are in the right position because these guys on the field know where to put guys, and they're smart, and they're like, hey, this guy.
I think you know where to put guys.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
But then you think about it, you're going against. You're most likely going to go against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
You want a guy like Terrell Suggs on your team that knows the Ravens a little bit.
Yeah. And that's a pickup. That's a pickup beyond analytics, as John and I were just talking about. And I think
analytics, you wouldn't pick that guy up.
You guys have stood on the sidelines coaching teams, and the other important thing. Yeah, exactly. The other important
you know what I mean? Just because I did that. Yeah. That's not analytics right there, folks.
The other important thing that the little I call analytics the little magic 8 ball. It's stupid excuse I have.
With the fucking, like you said, the baseball movie there.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just doing it by the numbers.
You're finding value in players that would be otherwise undervalued. And so, but here's the thing. That doesn't, you two can attest this. You stood on the sideline, and John, that 4th and 7 that we were just talking about comes up, right? And you got a team that you think like, wow, this is a fucking talented team. We've been moving all day. And these boys are fired up. Okay, let's go for it. The fucking magic 8 ball, you aren't going to shake it and be like, and at that time it's going to tell you, oh, go for it. No, you have a feel for the game. It's what's going on in game. You can't use analytics during a game. It's just batshit crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It just happened. I'm not even making that up. It was 4th and 7 on their own 38, and the Rams went for a fake fucking punt.
And that sounds about right with that team.
And now McVay fucking went over to Fossil there, the special teams coordinator, and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
Well,
and he puts on the paperwork and says, "Whoa."
But we also seen
But the numbers say no.
And I don't know if you really call this analytics or just bad decision, but like it seems like they're trying to play the average when the Bears going late in the fourth quarter, and Montgomery had a clear path for a touchdown, and he sits down, and I'm like, you're losing the game right now.
Right.
Score the touchdown. You get the 7 points. I don't care that, like, okay, we're going to sit on it. We're going to wear the clock down. They didn't wear it down enough. They still left time on the clock.
Yep.
And you left so many things that could happen. Well, I mean, that happened against in the Chargers game.
Yeah, right.
They missed the kick.
Right.
Or you get a penalty.
It just shows, I'm with you. I was screaming at my TV. I'm like, you fucking score that touchdown. You ram it down their fucking throat, and you go for 2. Yep. That way now you're still up by 7. Fine, great. All right, you don't want to put it in your defense's hands to win the game. You want it, but they had faith in their kicker. Deep down, I'm like, great, he's still got faith in the kicker, but at that moment, I was like, what the fuck? We're playing to lose the game again.
And that's it. Like, he out-thought himself.
Yeah.
You're not going to the playoffs. This game does not mean shit right now. Mm-hmm. But what it means, you go and you score, and you beat the Vikings by 7, and for the second time this year, you beat the Vikings. Now you go in with a little bit of, you go into
the offseason with a little swagger.
Swags.
I was actually mad at the end of this game.
Bulletin board material.
And that's why I was so upset in that Chargers game. Yeah, what's his name? Mitch Trubisky was getting his ass kicked that whole game. But that last drive, he started getting something moving. But here's my thing. Like, that's going to be your franchise quarterback. Like, let him try working his way out of the funk. I mean, you talk about, with Russell Wilson, like, he'll have a bad game, but Russell Wilson will fight his way out of it. He could have a shit game, and then you put it like the last minute, he'll try what he can to win it. And I wanted him. And
we're going to talk about the Seahawks.
No, and I get it, but like he might lose sometimes. Yeah. I get it, but
they all do.
Right, like you're not going to hit every game winner. So, but give that kid a chance. Like, that's what pissed me off. Like, you're going to, like, on second down, and you're going to go for a kick when your quarterback is just finally feeling it. Fuck that. Let him go for it.
I was so happy we weren't giving up on the 20. Oh, we're within field goal range. We were still driving downfield. And then that run breaks out. And I'm like, oh, great, we're going to fucking score. And he just fucking looks at a hole as big as my mom's twat and falls down.
Yep. Your mom's calling again.
Johnny? This same situation happened yesterday, and I was watching Alabama-Michigan. Alabama was up 28-16 with 25 seconds to go. What did Najee Harris do? Ran it right into the end zone. Najee Harris is the starting quarterback or the starting running back at Alabama too. He was playing with up 12 with 27 seconds to go, and he ran it into the end zone, and they ended up winning 35-16.
See, that's a team keeping their foot on the fucking game.
Why are we so? My question is in sports and stuff, and like I understand everybody. Like, if you step on the field, you have to know that the opposite, especially in pro sports, you have to know that you have respect from the opposite sideline. I'm so fucking sick of people saying, "Well, I don't want to interrupt the score. I don't want to score." I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Well, because you know what? Because if we're on the field across from each other, we're going to war together. Yes, I respect you. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's not running the score up. You allowed me to get here. Well, if you don't want me to be here, then fucking stop me.
You remember the 07 was the 07 Patriots where they went undefeated that year?
Yeah.
And everyone was bitching that, Belichick was running the score up on people. And Belichick said, our job on offense is to score the ball. We're planning to score every single time.
Right.
Not for nothing, too. Now let me.
You don't like it? Stop us.
Let me paint this picture for you, too. If you have that open hole that you're talking about with David Montgomery, okay, that open hole, all right? Well, if he were to run right up the middle instead of hitting that open hole, where do you risk more injury? Probably going up the middle right at the tacklers. If he's got the open hole, take the fucking touchdown. Right. like you're also talking when you're burning these times, more of a chance for contact, more of a chance for injury. I hate to really go way out to Pluto on that point, but at the same time, you have that opportunity of becoming hurt with some of these situations. If the defense knows they're plugging the middle, you've got a bunch of guys that could roll over ankles, roll over knees, roll over your offensive lineman's ACL.
We weren't playing against Aaron Rodgers. We weren't playing against Drew Brees or Russell Wilson. We weren't playing against anybody. We weren't even playing against Kirk Cousins for crying out loud.
They still had their starting D out there, and which they were blowing up our tackles. I mean, they were killing us. But the good thing is they had 2 injured players, so Minnesota's going to be really kicking themselves in the dick this week.
Well, my point was though, like, you put it on your defense. You got a backup quarterback playing in there. Even if they had their starter, it's Kirk Cousins. He doesn't scare you like that. You're the freaking Bears. Like, you got a good defense.
Kirk Cousins doesn't scare my mom.
Right. So you put the score up there. You scored the touchdown. It's not like you got to worry that they're going to come down there in 3 seconds and score a touchdown on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you score the touchdown. Again, if you got Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees or somebody like that,
right.
They can move the ball like
right.
that.
Yeah, you're facing the New England Patriots, then you worry about. But yeah, you're chicken. I'm totally with you.
For Christ's sake, John. Speaking of scoring a fucking touchdown, just score the damn touchdown. Let's talk about Russell Wilson's little exploits on the 1 yard line.
You know what? If I'm ever on the 1 yard line, I do not want him being my head coach.
I want Russell Wilson not even on the field. All right, I'm taking him off the field from now on. You know what? Let's re-sign Tavares Jackson in Seattle, and we'll have him run the ball in, okay? Because this guy what the 1 yard line has not been pretty for Russell Wilson.
Well, no, Pete Carroll. This is on Pete Carroll.
You're putting this on Carroll. I'm putting this on Wilson.
Because it's his job to they fucking get down there, they spike the ball. Great. Lynch runs out on the fucking field. Okay, hopefully they fucking learn from their and that's the thing is, does that Super Bowl call play into what happened here? Did he overthink it? Did he originally call a running play in, and they get in the huddle, and all of a sudden as the time's going off the clock, they're not hurrying to get to the line. They're standing, and it's a loose huddle. They're looking around like this. It's like they were nowhere near ready.
You're playing
near ready.
You're playing to be a whole playoff game too.
Where's the fucking intensity? What the fuck was that? That's on the coaching staff.
Yeah,
100% on the coaching staff.
I was like, what is going on here? Like, you should have already had a play set up and ready to go.
You're sending in your running back. He's got your play. He's calling it in. Let's go, Bobke. Get it in.
Yeah. It's. And then they had they had one chance. They take the 5 yards because they take the 5 yards.
Yeah. So now they're on the 5.5.
So now we're on the 5.5, and then another one bad play called to the corner of the end zone. Well, no, the offensive line got blown up the first play.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson had a scramble and he kind of threw it away.
Almost picked.
Picked. Yep. And then he comes back and goes to holster, and he's short of the end zone.
I get it. There's no way you can run the ball. And
no.
You can't. With 15 seconds to go, if it comes up short, you're pretty much done. Yeah. So it's got to be three passing plays. I think the first play had a guy in the backfield. The rest was empty. So it's just, you got to get Wilson out of the pocket because you've got to at least add that threat.
Yeah,
you got to at least make him think about it. Right. If he runs out of the pocket, it sucks the safety up. You might get a guy on over top of the safety open. That's it. So bad play calls again by Pete Carroll in that offense. Bad last second clock management, dude. I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't want Pete Carroll as my coach. He could coach the whole game until we're on the 1 yard line.
Then he's gone.
Send me somebody else in to
get to the dressing room.
Just not Matt Nagy.
Get to the dressing room. An interesting name that John just brought up that I do want to touch base on because we didn't have our show last week is the very, very quick, and I have to think there's something illegal about this situation, signing of Marshawn Lynch. All right. I mean, I don't know how he's eligible for the playoffs. I'm not really sure.
Well, it's the same thing as Terrell Suggs. I mean, it's the same idea. You're hiring a veteran.
He didn't retire.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess he wasn't on the retirement list. That's right. So I guess it's not the same situation as like a Gronk. Gronk retired.
Right.
But man, I mean, I love Marshawn Lynch. I love from his 12-second interview from when he got to the locker room. That I'm happy to be here. Happy holidays comment.
We talked about Eli taking his bow like with the Giants.
Well, that's the thing. He took it 2 weeks ago. This week he just walked off. Nothing.
But like with Marshawn Lynch, I mean, it's a great move for them. How much he's got left in the tank, and he's got enough to fight. I mean, he'll get some of his yards. But the energy he brings back to that stadium, the energy he brings to that fan base.
You would have thought.
Dude, his first rush, you would have thought they'd scored the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
But it's fun to see that
fuck yeah,
love him again.
And Marshawn's a good guy.
Yeah,
he's a fucking great guy.
A little out of shape, but
a little fat, but whatever. I mean, hey, what are you gonna do? Jerome Bettis was too. So was Mike Allstott. Like, come on now, get him out there.
That's again not an analytical choice.
Yeah,
that's a heart choice.
Yeah,
and they needed the help. But you got this guy that he's beast mode, and like the Skittles were being thrown again.
Fucking not get him the ball, man.
But it brings that love back to that, like that remembrance of the Legion of Boom and all that stuff. It gives that push for the playoff.
It also shows you something very important in as we talked earlier about head coaches. It tells you the fact that they were able to sign Marshawn Lynch and Robert Turbin, two former running backs with that team. Robert Turbin had a good career there so quickly because of the respect that they have for the head coach. I know it might sound a little bit like a little hoorah type move from me, but like at the same time, that came together fucking quick. They lost their top two running backs, and they were instantly able to find two guys that were ready to sign that next day to come back and play for that guy. So, I'm not a huge Pete Carroll guy. I don't love Pete Carroll. I think he's kind of a douche, but at the same time, this says a lot about Pete Carroll's character.
I disagree.
I used to love him.
I like Pete Carroll. I didn't like it when he was in New England.
Yeah,
whatever reason.
I loved him when he was with the Jets. Loved him. I thought he got the shaft when they let him go after one season.
But you just see the he's got a big smile on his face.
The boys love to play for him,
and that's I like coaching like that. Like that you inspire people. You don't just demand things. You inspire them, and they want to work for you, and they want to play for you.
It does show you that though. It shows you those guys coming. I have to let our listeners know.
Andy Reid is the same.
How weird it is that these guys came back that quick and pushed those physicals and got those physicals in that day. Like usually that's a process. Usually because probably Marshawn wouldn't want to get to the practice field till Wednesday or something like that. To get back on the field and stuff like that. But they rushed it. They got those boys back on the field quick.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. That says a lot.
I believe all the paperwork and shit's got to be done by Tuesday. They've got to be on the roster to be eligible. So, I believe.
But I thought that was a good move.
Yeah, I did too. Gentlemen, one thing I do with the season ending here, and I know we're gonna get into our picks, later on and stuff, and it's gonna be talking about playoffs. But I do want to talk about a couple, and we'll get into free agency as well. But a couple glaring guys that I think had their last press conferences with teams.
Guys.
And one I think is Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers is gone in LA. I think that press. I don't know if you guys saw his press conference, but it was kind of tough to watch. He was pretty emotional about it, and I think this move down the coast or up the coast, up, has been tough on him from San Diego.
He wasn't gonna. Yeah. I know he made a complaint that he wasn't gonna make that move.
So I also think, by the way, going back to Robert Saleh, I think that is his job. Next job is going to be the coach of the Chargers next year. Once they bomb out next year, I think he makes sense there once Lynn gets fired. Mm-hmm. But I think Phillip Rivers is gone, and I think we can take away from my Mr. 30 for 30 guy. Famous Jameis, I think he is also gone. The way Bruce Arians was talking, you don't hear Bruce Arians tip his hand much, but damn it, did Bruce Arians tip his hand on Jameis Winston? He is not coming. He is not going to be back in Tampa Bay. He has set the groundwork. Bruce Arians has set the groundwork to draft the quarterback he wants, or to perhaps bring in a veteran quarterback that he wants.
Now is Winston under contract still?
He is not. His contract is over. So you're also
they're not
looking
to pick up his fifth year.
There. They picked it up last year.
Okay, they picked it up last year.
Yes,
okay.
this is it for him. He is a free agent.
5,000 yards, 30 interceptions.
Yeah,
30
it's a tough.
And we've seen it when they played.
Hang on. This is going to blow your mind. He had in his first 5 years of play better numbers than Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I told you guys that.
But that doesn't matter. Like when I'm saying, like when I look at the game against Deshaun Watson, and we were joking about your guy versus my guy.
Yeah.
But like Deshaun Watson's stats are kind of mediocre, but they won the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And like he threw 6 interceptions that game, 2 pick sixes. He almost had 3 pick sixes.
He throws.
And that's what I mean. He had all the
does throw the ball
gaudy
50
numbers,
times a
but
game.
those interceptions, people look
They're
past
game
them.
changers.
Yeah.
And like I go back to Eli Manning in those Super Bowl years when he threw 25 and 20, 25 interceptions both those years. Those are bad seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Those are bad seasons. I mean, guys like Peyton Manning, like they might have had early on in their career, Peyton Manning sucked early on in his career.
He could get this right. That's what I'm saying. Jameis could get this right. Okay. He's throwing the ball 50 times a game.
I don't think that's the right place for him.
I could agree with that.
Like we're looking at Tannehill. Like Tannehill comes to a new situation. Not completely crazy different than when he was in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But you still got the big running backs. You still got the no-name wide receivers are playing better than they normally would. But I feel like the environment's different.
Yeah.
It's a different feel. And like maybe move Winston or Cam Newton to San Diego where they got all these other weapons and like they're on the West Coast.
I think Jameis would thrive in San Diego.
I do too. I think
Cam, LA, the artist formerly known as San Diego.
I think Cam Newton could revitalize his career someplace like that.
Yeah.
And I look like that. When I say Jameis Winston sucks, he sucks now in Tampa.
I also think another landing spot for Jameis. You guys are going to hate this. I'm gonna drop this and then I'll step away because I've got to go make another cocktail. But
the Jets?
No, another place that's going to be, I think, perhaps looking for a quarterback is because they gave a very smart deal to their quarterback this season, and I think it's Indianapolis. I think Jacoby Brissett is gone. All right, I don't think he had the year that they wanted him to have. I think he was okay, not great or not good even.
They looked really bad at the end of the year. Whereas in the beginning of the year, they looked totally different teams between halves of the year for Indy.
People ask today. People ask
weird.
But I feel like there's a lot of teams in the NFL this year.
They let fucking Jacksonville score 38 points.
People today asked their GM if he had been talking to Andrew Luck to come back. So, I mean, Brissett also, if you were to release Brissett, it would be very affordable for the team. It would cost them about $8.8 million, which is dirt cheap to release a player in this NFL. And unfortunately, I mean, you're not going to pay him $15 million to be your backup. So I think he could be gone.
That's what he was.
Yeah.
He would have been the backup this year.
But that was with the new deal. He signed the new deal after Luck got released or retired. But I think there's another landing spot for a quarterback too. So it's going to be very interesting. There's a lot. This year, and let's not forget too, Marcus Mariota probably will be a free agent as well because this will be his fit.
That would be a good spot for Marcus Mariota.
This is what I'm saying. You're talking about Marcus Mariota.
Indianapolis would be a great spot for him.
I would very much so agree with that.
Especially with the coaching staff they have, the players they got around them.
Frank Reich, quarterback guru.
Yes. I like that choice.
I wouldn't, Mariota as a backup in Chicago?
That's not a bad place to push Mitch. That's what I was thinking. Is because I don't think Jameis would. Chicago has to be a team that's going to bring a quarterback in. You have to think about that. I could see a Ryan Tannehill situation here.
We have to
in
move
Chicago.
on from Chase Daniel. We have to.
You have to move on from Daniel.
I like the idea of experienced quarterbacks, and we've seen it with Matt Quinn. What's his name? Matt Moore.
Matt Moore.
Over in Kansas City, a journeyman that everyone's like, he's not that good, but he came in, he did what he needed to do,
and that's a guy that's going to be a career backup. You need a guy. Jameis wouldn't go to Chicago. Phillip Rivers wouldn't go to Chicago to try to push a starter. They're going to want jobs. So Mariota, perfect guy to do this. A guy like Ryan Tannehill, who remember Ryan Tannehill's last year in Miami. Shit. Okay, went somewhere new, changed the scenery. New players. Pretty good the rest of the way.
He's all right.
Yeah, it's been okay. And if he pulls off
player of the year.
If he pulls, he has to be. If he pulls off the upset.
Here's a so now Tannehill opened up the doors for a couple other guys. We talk about Marcus Mariota. Mm-hmm. He opened the door, but Tannehill was Blake Bortles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was Blake Bortles.
Yeah, they're the same player in my mind.
Exactly. I get them confused sometimes.
Yeah.
And I feel like now it opens up the door for Blake Bortles and you change the scenery, maybe bringing him like you said, like into Chicago or Indy or the Chargers and let him compete for that job. Guy goes down and now you got a good quality quarterback to come in. I can see why they would want to keep him in the Rams in case something happens to Goff.
Yeah.
But now that Tannehill
pressing quarterback, I think he's got a 2-year deal though.
Does he?
I think. I'm not sure.
Because Tannehill, like just like Nick Foles did, they made that backup quarterback. Like Nick Foles made that backup quarterback that much more important.
Right.
Where Tannehill's like, okay, well maybe these guys aren't done.
Yeah.
Maybe they just need a change of scenery.
Another name I drop into that bucket that you're talking about with that that mid-level quarterback that maybe needs that change of scenery. You know, the Mariota, the Bortles category. Another guy, Robert Griffin III.
Yeah.
Okay. I could very much see a team, bringing him in to push that frontline guy. So we'll see. I mean,
but Robert Griffin III.
He's in a great offense right now. That suits him.
He is. He
right.
is. But he's the second fiddle, but he's also the teacher. He's that teacher we were just talking about. And like you look at a team like the Redskins who are developing a similar.
Could he go back? Could he go back?
I don't see him going back.
I see the Ravens really need him to stay up.
Yeah.
I feel that. I mean, with talk of all this movement around the league, I feel that they should call EJA Moving Company. Professional movers at 315-335-0516. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everyone and make it simple for you to move and relocate. That's EJAMoving.com. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. You're listening to the D-Line.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Nice segue.
Yeah,
I like that.
That was you guys fucking made it easy this week. I mean, it was perfect. All the quarterback movement, what should happen. Even though I hate talking what ifs and could be's, I fucking hate it.
I do too. But I mean, you kind of have to right now. This is the time.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, you're right, and that's
coaching changes.
That's going to fill up a lot of our show the next few weeks.
I know, right? Well, that in playoffs.
Yeah.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively.
Oh, wrong one. I thought it was the playoffs.
No. Well, that's bringing that up. Couldn't do diddly poo offensively. That's going to interrupt. J.J. Watt is coming back, so that's going to interrupt Tennessee.
Is he?
Houston.
I didn't know he was eligible to come back.
Yeah, he never went on IR.
Oh,
they left him, and he's not on the injury report this week.
It's
his window is open. Yes.
Yes.
So they're playing the Bills, right?
Yeah.
They also opened,
I said Tennessee. They're playing the Bills. Yeah.
And Tennessee's playing New England.
Another guy that's injury window open today too is Quan Alexander, the linebacker from San Francisco. That's another huge addition too.
Like last week's games, I kind of got the feeling like there was, with the exception of like maybe 2 games,
it was horrible.
Yeah, it was just
an awful week.
I don't even other than
it was like preseason 2.
I figured we didn't get any of our picks in last week, but I figured the Packers were going to win. The Jets upset me. The Dolphins upset. I had a good feeling the Bears were going to win. They just got their number, and Cook wasn't going to play. So there's 2. I didn't expect much out of the Chargers.
We had 2 Barclays playing on New York teams this past week.
Yeah. Right.
Brian, I do want to give
Brian.
You did say Brian.
You did. Who's Brian?
I want to give a shout out to Brian Flores.
Oh,
okay, all right, for starting 0-7 in Miami and finishing the season 5-4. That is very impressive.
Wow, that is
with a team like that.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, if you give him credit. Man, it's troubling to say this.
Well,
you have to give Adam Gase credit too. All right, because Adam Gase finished season 6-2.
Matt Barkley.
Yeah, I listen. I want everybody to know, as a diehard Jets fan, I take nothing away from that Bills game.
He played so bad.
Go Bill. Listen, go Bills. I don't even want to talk about that Jets game. It's worthless to talk about. I didn't watch. I didn't watch the game because, as we said, there was basically only 2 games that mattered this past Sunday, and one was the Sunday night game.
No, the New England and Miami game was huge.
And the New England and Miami game, yeah.
And the Green Bay,
Detroit.
That's the thing. There were so many games. Green Bay, Detroit. That if they don't win that game, they're not getting a bye week.
Yeah.
New Orleans versus Carolina. Carolina was winning 10-0 to start that game, and then all of a sudden their doors got fucking blown off after that.
Like Cowboys versus Redskins. Cowboys destroyed Redskins.
Right.
But if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'd almost rather lose that game. I'd almost rather lose that game to finally get rid of this jack off. You know what I mean? Like, no, they got 47 points. You're like, oh, we look good.
Right.
Like, we got it correct. And like, no, get rid of him. This is what he does.
You know what team I think is going to
This is the Marvin Lewis thing.
Yeah.
He's the new Marvin Lewis.
Who's that?
Garrett.
Yeah.
Marvin Garrett.
Well, I mean, let's talk about fucking Marvin's old job too. I mean, that sealed Freddie Kitchens' fate. I think that loss in Cincinnati sealed Freddie Kitchens' fate.
As inconsequential as that game was, it had
huge ramifications.
Yes,
huge ramifications.
When you look at like Odell Beckham's numbers, and Odell Beckham, for being how he used to be, like I'd expected more controversy coming out of him. But like this guy is a guy that you need to feed the ball to all the time. It's like having Megatron on your team and not throw him the damn ball.
Just waving to him.
Yeah, hey, how you doing? I'm going to throw to these guys over here and not throw them to you. Like that's just not smart football.
Right.
No.
And you got Landry on the other side. You got so many weapons. Like, how come you're not scoring?
You're also talking to
they led the league in rushing, I believe. So
Well, they should.
second.
Okay.
Derrick Henry led the league in rushing. Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry had to go for 230
overall
yards.
Offense. Hang on, let's look this up.
I think you're right, John. But Derrick Henry had to go for 230 yards to get over Nick Chubb, who didn't play or had 13 carries. That's the other thing, too. Nick Chubb had 13 carries at the end of the season here. The other thing, too, that if you want to talk about tough picks and a guy who I've gone to bat for too many times is David Njoku, the tight end there. He was inactive. He was a healthy scratch
But
that
that's
last game.
coaching.
Yeah.
If he's a healthy scratch, then that's coaching.
Yeah.
Like, unless, I don't know, they thought they were going to get, I don't know what his coaching, but like that's why the head scratchers, you got so much talent.
Yeah.
And you can't put it together.
Yeah. I
just never thought he was the coach for them anyways. I think maybe he was more of a bridge coach.
Who's that, Freddie?
Yeah, until they found somebody.
No, hang on. No, I wasn't even close. Ravens are number one and 49ers. You don't get to the fucking Browns down till
well, you're talking
they did have the leading rusher in the NFL.
Team rushing?
Team rushing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they did have the one of the second leading rusher in the NFL.
Okay, yes. That's where I'm getting my made up stat from. Yes. Okay.
But you have to understand too, at the end of the season, if you're Freddie Kitchens, why wouldn't you just lead on that guy? He rushed the ball 13 times. What are you doing? You're trying to lose your job.
And you got Kareem Hunt back there too.
Yeah.
So you got two quality running backs, two awesome wide receivers. I don't get it.
And good for Cincinnati going out and winning and not losing their number one pick. You still got Joe Burrow. You're good. You're fine. You know. And by the way, to break with the quarterback conversation we just brought up, very important this year because there's not a lot out there.
So who's
in the college ranks?
Who's going to get the number one pick?
It is Cincinnati. It's
it
confirmed.
Cincinnati?
And the Jets pick at 11. In case anyone was wondering that too.
Okay.
Bears would have been at 19, but Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
So they pick. We actually have two in the second round, 43rd and 50.
We haven't had much.
Which is honestly not
52nd.
We haven't had much luck in the first round.
That's
anyways.
not to have to deal with not having a first round pick this year. That's a smart move by is it Ryan Pace still?
Yes.
That's a smart move by Ryan Pace to still second round picks are very valuable.
Yeah.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with them. And you know what? 2 second round picks. If you're at the end of the first. Whoever might win the Super Bowl or whoever goes deep in this playoff run around 24, 25, if you really like a guy, go up and get him.
Well,
two seconds will get you there.
With 2 second rounders, you could get into the end of the first round.
Yeah, 2 seconds will get you there. I think 2 seconds got Baltimore to Lamar Jackson.
31, yeah.
Yeah, but do you remember years ago when we didn't have a number one pick? We had 2 second round picks.
Yeah.
We picked up Daniel Manning.
Right.
And then that other dude, what's his name? He did okay. That Devin Hester guy.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, he did okay. He had an okay career. Like, he was.
But that's exactly it. I mean,
top 100 all-time NFL team. Whatever
leads the record for most
returns. Yep.
A team that we quietly didn't talk too much about toward the end of the year, or really all year, except for when Ray was here, is Denver. Denver finished the season with a last-second field goal at 7-9.
Denver finished the season. We could just stop it right there.
Not at all. I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree.
Fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah, but they had so many games where they were right in.
But that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's his point.
That's my point. That's exactly my point. That team finished 7-9. Mm-hmm. And the other
Drew Lock was what, 4-1?
Drew Lock was 4-1 in the season, and he was rapping away on the sidelines. That team, Vic's got that team headed in the right direction.
I knew he would. The quarterback situation, bringing in Flacco, I thought maybe you got a veteran quarterback. I never thought he was the one to lead him anywhere. Flacco to me was like that above average quarterback. He had a big arm.
Yeah. He's he's good, but he's not great. And the other thing is too, it's a nice move by that organization to bring in a new coach and give him at least a veteran option. Sometimes you don't have that.
Now let me ask you this: if you're the Denver Broncos, right, and do you go after?
No, Drew Lock is my quarterback. He went 4-1 at the end of the season.
Yeah, but
He's my quarterback. There's no question.
So did Brock Osweiler.
There's no question. There's no question.
Brock Osweiler.
There's no question. Drew Lock is under center week 1 next year, and I'm going to give him all the confidence of having a great offseason, OTAs with his guys. I'm going to give him maybe another weapon or two. I've got 2 in the backfield. I got 2 weapons in the backfield.
But if you win a Super Bowl,
Drew Lock's my guy.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I have to stick with Drew Lock.
I think because of his.
He's given me no reason not to.
Yeah, but it's the same thing as Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler at the end of
what does Phillip Rivers give me more than maybe a Drew Lock does?
It gives you a general.
He's not a proven winner.
He's his win record is pretty damn good.
He's a winner, but he's not somebody like he's not that he doesn't get me going like that Peyton Manning, like a Peyton Manning type guy.
I would more so than Flacco, even though Flacco.
Sure. Phillip Rivers gets me going obviously more than Joe Flacco, but Drew Lock's my guy. Drew Lock is not going anywhere. Drew Lock is under center next year.
I just think
and you keep Flacco. You do. You keep him.
I think
feel like if you
keep that veteran.
If you can pick up a Phillip Rivers from your arch rival in your division.
If I was Phillip Rivers, I'd tell him to fuck off. Anyways, I wouldn't even pick up the phone because I can go to Tampa Bay and have throw to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I think
come on. I don't know. If I'm Mike Evans, I might try to get out of there too.
Oh God, no. He loves Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians loves him.
I mean, Mike Evans is a beast.
Phillip Rivers will look great in red and black next year. He'll look great.
He's retiring.
All right, let's talk about some of these games we got going on here, man.
All right. Well, hang on. No, don't.
Yeah, we can't go to
Don't overshoot the event. No, hang on. 3rd year in a row. Still with champion. All right.
Yes, John. Good job.
I went 1-62 and 79. Caleb came in second at 147 and 94, and Chicken at 144 and 97. You didn't hit the 100 mark, but you probably would have had we picked last week's games.
Right.
I would have needed to lose all 16 for Caleb to overtake me.
I fucking hate that you sat at work and figured that out.
And
John works at.
Bullshit. No, I didn't go. I've been off for the past 13 days.
Have you really? Good for you.
Yeah. I went back to work today.
You've been off your whole life. Yeah, let's get down to this Bills.
Let's set our playoff picture first here. So we've got.
I kind of wish we did a little bit of homework and chose and seen what at the beginning of the year when Jack Brown was on and we picked all our.
I got him. You want him?
Yeah.
All right, hang on.
Let's talk about our. We'll set the playoff picture, Silberth. You find those. So we've got our number one seed in the AFC is going to be the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Big surprise.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a drum roll, please, right? And with their loss to Miami this past week, no longer. This is the first week since 2000, the first year since 2000, I believe, in 7. I think I saw that the Patriots will play in the first week. So your number 2 seed in the NFL on the AFC side is going. I believe it is. It's coming up right now. Sorry.
On the AFC?
It's Kansas City.
Yeah, the Chiefs.
Yes, so it's Kansas City. Then the Patriots are the 3rd seed, and you're the divisional winner. Houston is your 4, and then the Bills are 5, and Tennessee is your 6th seed. Okay, to set that matchup. On the NFC side, it's going to be the number 1 seed with winning. Nobody realizes if San Francisco had lost on Sunday Night Football, they would have gone to Philadelphia and played that playoff game in Philly. So now they are the 1 seed.
So that was such a crazy the way that works. Even though they got the Seahawks got a way better record than the Eagles. Because of that stupid divisional running, I think it should just go by record. So
yeah, we know.
Just drives me nuts.
And then Green Bay is the 2 seed. It was the 2 seed. Good for Matt LaFleur in his first season to get to be a 2 seed. Really, honestly, had a great year. Had a really awesome year with a cast of characters.
They looked really bad at times.
They did.
Really bad. They did. But they overcame it.
It's their defense and their run game, which we're not accustomed to seeing in Green Bay.
Right. Yeah,
it's always Aaron Rodgers.
And then New Orleans is your 3 seed. I believe that tiebreaker was based on their divisional conference records, and Green Bay was a game better in both. Then Seattle is your 4 seed. Minnesota is 5, and Philly is your 4 seed. And then Seattle is your 5 and Minnesota is your 6. I apologize.
Thanks for clearing that up for me. I got it all perfectly now.
Okay. So what do you got for us?
Okay, well, so let's see. Caleb here.
Here, let me read mine.
All right, there you go. You want yours, Chicken?
Yeah, sure.
Your Super Bowl is
here we go. Get your red pen out here. Get your red pen out, kids. All right. So for your AFC East divisional winner, I had the Patriots.
So did I.
All right. I'm going to give myself a star.
All right.
The North winner, I had the Steelers. I'm going to give myself.
So did I. So that's -1.
I had the Browns.
Did none of us pick that divisional winner? Jeez.
Nope.
Oh boy. So Baltimore. None of us were on Baltimore. That's sad. The South, I had the Texans.
I picked Indy.
I had the Texans.
Are you talking about wild card?
No,
Right?
no, the South.
Oh, South.
Division winners.
The South division winner and the AFC.
I don't know why this is all fucked up.
Yeah. But you just fill in the box.
Who did you have? Who did you write in the box?
Underneath South.
Yeah, I had the Saints and Rams, but I fucked up over here, so I guess.
What?
Oh, Chargers. Oh, that would have been West. I don't know why the fuck this is. No, that was my wild card.
Can we see your sheet, please?
Yeah, you need 2 wild. Yeah. Hang on.
I fucked up in there somewhere. Oh. Nice.
Okay.
Nice pass, Darnold.
Yeah, you got Saints in the South and AFC,
Yeah.
dude. It's not even. He really fucked it up.
Drunk that night, huh? Must have been drunk.
I probably would have picked Houston. That's probably who I would have.
Yeah, honestly, we'll give you that.
I probably would have picked Houston and Indy, but
All right, and in the West, I had KC.
I had KC as well.
Okay, and then my wild card teams were Cleveland and the Jets.
I had Cleveland and the Chargers.
I was Colts and Chargers on that one.
Colts and Chargers. Okay, so wow, that was bad. All right, in the East, I had Philly, baby. I had Philly.
I had Philly.
I had Philly.
Yep.
I had the Bears in the
Yeah.
North.
I had
Same here.
Bears in the North. Yep.
I had Saints in the South.
Yep.
We're good there.
And I had the Rams.
Same here.
And then
I
my
had the-
playoff, my wild card teams were Dallas. Nope.
Yeah.
And Atlanta.
I had the Seahawks.
I had Seahawks Cowboys.
There we
I was
go.
so
Seahawks,
close.
Cowboys, yeah.
It would have
Yep.
been Seahawks Philly.
And I wrote down at the bottom my surprises were going to be Trey Burton and Rob Gronkowski, and surprisingly, they were not surprises. And my bust was Minnesota, and that was wrong.
My surprise was Indy winning the South, and my bust was OBJ. And I was right on
That was right. You were spot on, John.
I didn't write it, but I said my bust was Nick Foles.
Hey,
Okay.
spot on.
I had about hey Frank, how you doing?
There's Frank.
I had the Chiefs and the Saints going to the Super Bowl, so I'm still alive.
Yeah, you are.
I had the Chiefs. I had the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. I had the Chiefs and the Bears.
I had Chiefs and Rams. Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
And I can safely say, and gentlemen, it's not just because I'm in your presence, and I'm not trying to just be a dick, but the Bears were my biggest disappointment this year. Hands down. Hands down, I think they might be the biggest disappointment in the NFL, especially it's so polarizing when you see headlines. And obviously, we all know our feelings about the media. And I mean, I guess we are the media, but at the same time, beginning of the season, number one bet for MVP, Mitchell Trubisky. Okay? Bears, a lot of Super Bowl bets. People like him for the Super Bowl. They just bombed.
I put a lot of that on the coaching.
Yeah.
I put a lot of that on the coaching.
Yeah.
And that we seen it was almost like they were listening to the D-line when I was talking and saying like they need to keep the ball moving, they need to like hurry up offense, they needed to change, and then somewhere along the way they went back to how they played before, like let Mitch Trubisky run the ball, move around, not just stand in that pocket. And I feel like somewhere along the way, like he was trying to do something new, and it wasn't working.
Yeah,
and then they went back to what they did last year. And if you look at the last few games of the year, like the Bears look much different.
I'm putting Matt Nagy on the hot seat.
This is a show me year.
This is the hot seat.
You did great. Like Phil brought up, you didn't have a losing season yet.
Yeah.
But you did way worse than you did last year. I just
I've got him on the hot seat.
you felt out like your quarterback.
Expectations have to be high with this team, with that roster.
Absolutely.
With that roster has to be high.
And people don't realize they kept making comments about the Bears playing the Vikings backup team. Well, the Bears are playing backup team too. I mean,
No, they weren't. No, they fucking starting defense was out there.
who?
The Vikings.
They were saying no. They had a lot of reserve players.
And guess
playing.
what? The fucking that
But the
so-called
announcement-
backup offense scored 3 touchdowns in the fucking fourth quarter.
But they kept saying how the Bears are playing the backup.
2 touchdowns. Sorry.
The Vikings backups. Well, the Bears are playing backups. I mean, we had Allen Robinson was our only wide receiver that was starting.
I haven't had Taylor Gabriel in fucking 4 weeks.
Robinson's been a fucking ghost, anyways.
Robinson, he's been a beast.
Has he been good this year?
He has been their most constant player this year. He should be in the Pro Bowl. That guy, he put up great numbers. But then you look at our linebackers were all hurt.
Yeah.
The secondary was hurt.
All D tackles not playing this whole game.
Hicks gone.
Yeah. Hicks and Goldman out this game.
Hicks, Goldman, no Roquan Smith, no Trevathan. Which I love the backups playing there in their spots, but when you're going against number ones, it's different. But
you're taking number twos at that point.
You're taking a lot of number twos.
Ooh.
But I just I feel like that if they stick to what they start doing at the end of the season and just progress from there, they'll be okay.
Well, I like that they basically fired their whole fucking offensive coordinator, offensive line coach.
They did fire the OC.
Tight end coach.
Who is it?
Shit.
I don't even know.
Yeah. He's not calling the plays.
Yeah.
Getting them ready in practice. That's why I don't think that matters. The old line coach signing Juan Castillo, that's huge because he's a known name.
Juan Castillo?
When he was with Buffalo a couple years ago, the years he was there, they were a top 10 rushing offense.
I heard Juan Castillo's terrible, but
let's get to these playoff games. Let's get to the Bills and Houston Texans.
Bills going to Houston.
And the Bills' first time playing in a playoff game. Well, 2 years ago they were in the playoffs. And then before that was what, the 90s? It's been pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I just realized who the Bears' offensive coordinator was. Mark Helfrich.
Right.
Mark Helfrich was a really good college coach when he was at Oregon. He ran that run and gun in Oregon.
And that's right.
Weird. Damn.
Something didn't jive right. Something didn't jive right there. But this is going to be a good game. You got a really good defense against a really good offense. And you said J.J. Watt's coming back.
So that really could
big.
Interrupt Buffalo in a bad way.
And Buffalo's offense has been really not that great.
And now you're going to make it even worse.
Yeah. And the Texans, man, I like the yin and yang, like the great offense versus the great defense. Yep.
And I'm very nervous about this game this weekend because I'm going to be rooting for the Bills. Just because of the offensive output of the Bills all season. Right. It just hasn't been there. It's just like it's been there to win games, but I just don't know about them playing this team and this offensive output being
that defense has to play lights out.
They're going to have to be the best in the NFL.
Yeah. And their best shot, keep it close, win by 3.
So
they're going to have to. They're going to have to win by 3.
So White's going to go on Hopkins. I still don't think one person can cover.
Tre'Davious White. Little Silberth fact here is the third quarterback in NFL history to not give up a touchdown pass in a season where he had I forgot how many interceptions it was, but a certain amount of interceptions. But he's the best cornerback in the NFL. There's no doubt about it.
But we
statistically the best quarterback.
They said the same thing with Stephon Gilmore that lock him down, and Hopkins had a really good game.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's that type of player that you just can't. He's going to win battles. Like, they're going to go back and forth. I still think Hopkins is going to win his battles, but that means there's 3 other guys on that.
Yeah,
that have to play
wide receivers.
One very, very good fact, an exciting fact for the Buffalo Bills is the fact that all players practice this week for the Buffalo Bills. Every player on their roster that they've had active all season, or they consider a starter, was practice this week. That doesn't happen much this time.
Well, that means why they played so bad last weekend, because they rested guys.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly who they rested, but it sounds like that.
When
you've got a full roster making practice, that means guys got rest last week.
Yeah, and it's a smart move because they couldn't move. They couldn't move from 5.
Yeah.
So they sat at 5. They said, "Hey, we'll see you later. Go ahead." That's fine, and that's why that Jets game was null and void. They basically went out and put the shoulder pads on for no reason. I all I can see with this game, this Bills Texans game, I just have flashbacks to the Jacksonville game, the 10-3. Mm-hmm. And it's like, is this going to be another fucking go around?
If it's a 10-3 game, then it goes into Bills' favor.
Right. If it's a close game, this goes into Bills' favor.
If it's a low-scoring defensive game, it definitely goes in Bills' favor.
That defense has played lights out every week. They've played tight and close every week. New England, it doesn't matter who they played. Did they get blown out this year?
No.
They did not get blown out this year. I know they did not.
And this is
they did. I'm sorry, Chicken, to interrupt you. At the end of one game, they got blown out. They lost by 30, but it was not conducive of the way they played. Sorry, my bad.
With the Houston Texans, they're offensive line's not been great.
No. Right.
So, and I definitely feel like that's where the Bills can win the battle up front and shut down that run game. But if the Houston can get up scoring on them and like they did with Tampa Bay, Houston's got a good defense. They got a decent defense. If they can keep the ball, if they can get up on them quick and fast or in the beginning game, I don't think Bills have enough firepower to come back.
Offensively, Houston can go tit for tat with you.
Yes.
They really can.
And I just can the Bills keep them down? That's the question.
I want to pick the Bills, but I can't. I'm going Houston on this one.
I'm going Houston as well. They're at home. Houston again is one of those teams that could be one team one week and another team the next. They can completely look like shit one week and then look like the team to beat in the NFL. Bills have been constant. They've been a strong team.
Yeah,
I feel like again they're one or two playmakers away from really making a good push for the Super Bowl, but I rooting for the Bills, but Texans are my choice.
Right.
Bills. Yep. I think they could. I think they could go to Houston and do it. What was? Can you look up the results of their game when they played earlier this year, John? Because that does say a lot to me. My one thing is I still think that this Bills defense is going to have the ability to make Deshaun Watson look immature like he sometimes does. And really attack him. And I think that they could kind of play a little bit of a role in his head and kind of get in his head and move the rocks around a little bit. So,
and that's where I think going back to coaching, knowing they're going to blow up that front line of yours, I think that leaves them susceptible to screens.
Yeah.
With Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde.
Very early.
I feel like the screenplay could be a huge, because, they're going to cover those wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to, so you put that running back right out there and with that over-aggressive defense, I think they could be.
It's good. I think this game could, I think you really hit it earlier with Tre'Davious White and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I think it could be a big part of the game. I also think that the Bills, the other cornerbacks in Buffalo are more than talented enough to take care of the rest of that team. That's the one problem with Houston, though, is you just never know who it's going to be, who's going to step up, and who's going to be, who's going to be the guy. So
I guess if you're going to choose a matchup, that'd be a perfect matchup because, you got all those great wide receivers in Houston, and you got those great, DBs in Buffalo. So they kind of almost like wash each other out.
Bills Broncos. Hang on, yeah. I'm just going to.
What are you trying to look up?
The results earlier from this year in Houston and Buffalo, because I know they played earlier this season. It was like week 2 or 3, I think. I think it might have been the Bills' first home game or first away game or something like that. But I mean, it says a lot. It says a lot about the results. Also, too, not for nothing, the Bills don't have to.
They play, dude.
I don't think they did either.
I got week 1. They played the Jets.
And I feel like the Bills.
Week 2, they played the Giants. Bengals, Patriots, Titans, Dolphins, Eagles, Redskins, Browns, Dolphins.
Well, I could be wrong.
Broncos. Yeah, you got me looking up made-up fact. Brought to you by Caleb.
Sucker.
Only on the D-Lo.
While you guys are looking that up, I'm going to do this. Are you tired of living in pain? Your medication doesn't seem to be working or leaves you in a fog? Try a natural, safer alternative with CBD from Utica Hemp. With everything from oil, full spectrum, and THC-free. Topical CBD flower, dog treats, and Utica Hemp has something for everyone. Visit uticahempco.com or stop in one of their 4 locations in Utica, Herkimer, New Hartford, and Clinton, and speak to one of the knowledgeable staff about how CBD can help you. Utica Hemp, improve the quality of your life. Which I have to go over there because my mother needs more.
Was she calling?
Yeah, she's calling right. She needs some more CBD oil.
Love it.
One of the few things that actually helps her with her carpal tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, so let's move on because you're not looking up what you want to look up.
I did. They did not play the show. I was thinking of last year. I apologize.
So
I'm still going Bills, baby.
Okay, to Houston, 1 Bills. I'm not arguing with you. I just had to pick one.
Yeah, I hear you.
So we're going to go New England Patriots and Tennessee Titans.
In New England, Tennessee's going.
In New England.
This is tough. I don't see how the Patriots are 5-point favorites in this one. It's really weird.
Because of the Patriots entering the postseason and they're at home. So that right there gives you at least 3 points, 4 points.
Right.
But I like what we were saying with Vrabel being the disciple of Belichick. I feel like Vrabel, He's got that that monkey on his back. Can he beat the master? He's still trying to prove himself as a coach. I like the Tennessee Titans in this game. I like the revitalized Tannehill. I love Derrick Henry. That guy's playing like a beast.
They are riding a hot wave right now.
Hot wave?
Yeah, right? They're going in the playoffs the right way.
Yeah.
They really are. And you know what? They're a scary goddamn team.
They're one of those teams that, the Titans, you don't think much of it. And then you start, Derrick Henry, Tannehill's playing good. The defense is playing well. I think they're a scary team. I don't think they're going to go all the way, but if they can knock off New England right here, that opens the doors to. And they already beat the Chiefs.
I mean, Christ, they've won what? Fucking Christ, 7 out of their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 out of their last 6 games. They won.
Yeah, Tannehill's been good. I mean, there's no denying that.
They beat
guys.
The Chiefs,
it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. It's the playoffs, and we're talking about the New England Patriots. I know it sounds crazy.
Do I want to be that typical fucking asshole who picks? Oh, this is the end of the Patriots. They're done. I don't want to. Dude, we've all done that, and we've all been fucking proven wrong. Tennessee's really hot. It's just so hard.
Tom Brady. All this has written. Remember a few years ago when Jacksonville won in the divisional round or the wild card round, and they played New England in New England, and everybody was like, "This is it. This is the chance."
Right. I remember that.
Yeah,
it didn't happen.
It's Tom Brady. It's Bill Belichick.
He's been beat. I mean,
it's Tom Brady and it's Bill Belichick.
It's 5 points. It's tough. So I mean, they've got to know something.
This is my pick. This is my out on a limb pick. My underdog pick is. This is that where each year we get that one team that knocks off the big team. You're like,
right.
Oh shit,
yeah.
Butler beats off Duke or something like that. I think this is it. I feel like the disciple's going to get the master in this game. I think that New England's kind of in disarray. Their defense isn't as stout as everyone. And you can have all those corners. They ain't stopping Derrick Henry.
Oh.
I don't care what you do. They're not stopping Derrick Henry. So I just you keep Tom Brady and the boys off the field, how are they going to score on you? And I would just give him heavy doses of Derrick Henry, and
that is the X factor to win. That's the X factor to win. You're right. I mean, I don't think we can come up with another one. But that defense has been really good all year. That defense has been the number one defense in the NFL all year. I mean, it's not like he's facing a bunch of chumps. I mean, that New England defense is stout.
I know, but so the Titans defense is good as well. They're I don't know the exact numbers, but they don't strike me as a top 5 defense.
Yeah,
and you look at,
but they're decent.
You said 5 of the last 6. Tennessee's been playing pretty hot.
Yeah.
New England's been wishy-washy. I mean, they just lost to Miami.
And that game they lost against the Saints.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
okay.
So this is gonna be a good game. This is a game that I definitely want to keep my eyes on.
I'm picking the Patriots. There's no way I can sit here confidently and say the Titans.
I'm going to pick. I really feel they're going into the playoffs the right way. I'm going to pick the Titans. I see them pulling the upset.
Interesting, Joe.
They're the only 10 I see.
Interesting.
All right, so Caleb's gonna lose that one.
Right now, I'm different from you guys in the first 2 games.
Yeah,
so.
I know, right?
So at worst, we'll go 1-1.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Saints versus the Vikings. Saints are at home.
7.5 point favorites.
They're playing. They're playing in a dome, so this is going to be better for that team.
Dude, the
what an
Vikings,
ultimate take that was.
Now, speaking of team going the wrong way into the playoffs, that's the Minnesota Vikings right now.
Yeah.
They
and the Saints just put up 42. I don't care who it was against. I mean, yeah, it was against Carolina. I don't really give a fuck. It's 42 points.
No, Carolina's a decent defense.
Yeah.
It's their defense isn't the problem. It's their offense that is, and the fact that they put up 42
Is
fucking
Dalvin
points.
Cook playing?
Here, I got you. Yes. That's why he wasn't in the past 2 weeks. They want to get him for the playoffs.
That doesn't mean diddly to me.
No, it doesn't.
Because guess what?
Because your running game is out the window.
Elvin Kamara's playing for the other team, and Latavius Murray's playing for the other team, and Michael Thomas is playing for the other team, and then Drew Brees is going to be there as well. He's pretty good.
Drew Brees is okay. Yeah,
so,
I'm definitely sticking with my Saints on this one. Again, that Bears beat Minnesota. Game didn't matter, but they beat them earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota's they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I don't see them getting past New Orleans, and I feel like New Orleans is that team that they know they got a certain amount of time right now.
Right.
They know that Drew Brees is only going to be around for a couple more years. They want to win him another Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Vikings got Stephen Weatherly and boy, I'm not even going to try that. A Fetty Odin. Say that for me.
He doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Well, a couple DNs out. Questionable. They've got nobody out, but Dalvin Cook is not on the injury report. But yeah, I'm going Saints. They're unstoppable.
Yeah, and they just quietly
We are not going to see a Case Keenum this year.
Yeah, we're not
going to see that.
You better not, because I mean, with the Saints, it just we're talking about the 49ers, we're talking about those Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots, and I feel like beginning of the year we were talking a lot about the Chiefs and we were talking a lot about the Saints, and then somewhere along the way we just kind of forgot about them, and I think lately they reminded us holy shit, these are two stellar teams,
right?
These are two really good teams, and the Chiefs boasting up their defense. And the Saints actually getting Alvin Kamara. He only scored his third or fourth touchdown a week ago.
Right.
So he's got fresh legs for the offseason. Or I'm saying postseason.
Fresh legs.
And I feel like for some reason that the Chiefs and New Orleans Saints are kind of getting looked over.
You think it's destiny?
I feel like we might be looking at Saints Chiefs Super Bowl.
Very possible.
It's
the way the Ravens are playing right now, though, man. Holy crap!
We can pick these games all we want, but it's been, if you look back in history of the last few years, it's been 1-2, 1-1, 2-2, 1-1 matchups in the Super Bowl. Yep. So
I think it hasn't been since the Giants, backed their way into the playoffs that one year.
Philadelphia,
Philly.
Oh, no. they were wild card?
No, they won the division that year.
Did they win?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. So. They did, but they kind of backed in with a backup quarterback, and
they backed in. They limped in.
Then we're gonna go. Who are you going with this game? Saints.
Saints. Yeah.
Saints.
I just don't see it in Minnesota. I don't think it's really.
You look at coaching. I definitely give the coaching to.
I don't definitely. I like Zimmer a lot. I think I like obviously Sean Payton.
He likes you too, man.
Thank you.
Zimmer's all right, but when you look at Sean Payton,
yeah, I mean between the two, yeah.
I mean of active coaches in the league, I'd have to put Sean Payton close to Bill Belichick within that.
He would be my three.
Yeah, Andy Reid.
It would be Belichick, Reid, then Payton. Yeah. I would go. I could get on board with that.
Not to revisit the Bears game last week, but they ran all over Minnesota. I mean, is that a hole in their defense? I guess we'll see.
We will definitely see.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, will we see a repeat of that? Does Drew Brees need to have a fucking 340-yard game?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be easy. I think
Michael Thomas will have a 340 game.
If I was betting, I would wait for the points to move a little bit, but I'd be all over the Saints regardless.
Yeah, how'd they go?
So yeah. One point I do want to bring up too in the Tennessee and New England game. Guy who was voted the unsung hero of the Tennessee Titans, his name is Daquan Jones. He's their defensive tackle. Look out for him on Sunday or Saturday when they play. Daquan Jones was a good friend or best friends with a friend of mine from college. He's a Section 5 guy from Union Endicott. Mm-hmm. Okay, from downstate.
Section 8?
Good one. Be on the lookout for him. He's the Daquan Jones. He's the D tackle for the Titans. He's a very unsung, quiet player, but really just puts up good numbers. And I'm excited to watch him. And I know Jake will be watching him as well. He's a friend of mine that I went to college with. They were really, really close. So yeah,
nice,
cool little connection there. He was voted by his teammates as the unsung hero of the team.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, little something for you there. But we'll talk. We'll talk this last game here. It's Philadelphia is going to host a 4:40 matchup with the Seattle Seahawks as they come into Philadelphia because Philadelphia won their division.
The line is Seahawks -1.5 right now, but it opened up at Philly -1. Whoa.
Interesting. That's movement.
That is big movement, especially for playoffs. Seattle
it's only Thursday.
Not looking good the past few weeks.
No.
But who'd they play?
3 weeks ago, I'm easily picking Seattle.
But they squeaked out the first game against the 49ers. Right. The 49ers it's not an easy walk in the park.
That was in San Fran. This one was in Seattle.
It doesn't matter. They're both big teams. I mean, they're both really good teams. I mean,
super matters.
They were both playing for the number one seed. You know what I mean? They were really good teams. Mm-hmm. Philly squeaked by the Giants. They're squeaking by Dallas.
Philly is squeaking by. My biggest concern with this game is going to be the fact that last week Tyler Lockett seemed to get going again. He's kind of been MIA for the last few weeks prior to last week, but he really got going, and I'm worried that there's nobody in Philly that could cover Tyler Lockett. And that's a big thing. And I mean, DK Metcalf is just a man.
Where do they stand? He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's an animal.
With Alshon Jeffrey and Aguilar.
That's one thing we got to look at is the Eagles' injury report. I mean, Trey Burton, Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz, I don't believe played the last game of the season.
No, he didn't. None of those guys did. Jordan Howard suited up but didn't play.
All right, so linebacker Michael Kendricks is out for Seattle. Torn ACL.
Former Eagle. And
then for Philly, let's see, nobody's listed as out. And Zach Ertz is questionable. Limited practice today. Miles Sanders
got hurt this past week.
Non-participant at practice today.
I would say he's not going to play.
That's not good. But it's playoffs.
And you're playing on Sunday, too. That's a big thing.
Right. Yeah, so can you really count him out? Not yet. No, I think he's fine.
But Alshon's playing.
They're not listed.
Aguilar.
Yeah, not listed.
Jordan Howard.
Nelson Aguilar, questionable.
Jordan
practice
Howard's
today. Sorry.
I don't believe Jordan Howard's even really suited up for them in the last few weeks.
Yeah,
he played last week.
Boston Scott is your running back. There. He was awesome last week.
But Jordan Howard's a different style running back. But
they don't believe in him.
They do. They're going
to play Scott.
He's just been hurt.
With what Scott did last week, Scott plays if Sanders can't go.
You play both. You play in both because they're two different style running backs. And if you're playing against this Seahawks team, I would want a guy like Jordan Howard moving the pile, and then that kid, hitting the big runs. But you look at that. That's like a Pro Bowl list of guys that they got out or they had out.
Mm-hmm.
They get some of those guys back. We're talking about a different ball game here. I mean,
yeah. It'll be. They're a good team, and they're a scary team because for me, they're the one team I just don't know. I just don't know about.
If they can get healthy, let's say they somehow win this game and they get some of their guys back, they could go on that run because they're getting their guys back. But I don't know. They haven't done it all year.
Eagles O-tackle Lane Johnson has not been cleared to practice yet. That was as of yesterday. So he hasn't been cleared to play at all either. Still questionable, though.
And it's such a weird thing, though, because you get some of these guys back, for
it's
Philly,
a different story, right?
Way different. They got some weapons going. And then you bring in that kid, that Boston Scott kid, who played well for him. Absolutely. Yeah. But I would definitely, you get a Jordan Howard back. Now you got a bruiser and you got your speedster.
Yeah.
And that kid played great, but he's small.
He was good. For either of these teams, both these teams, it's obviously a huge game, and you're huge Minnesota Vikings fans because I think it's a huge parallel between 1 and 2 in the NFC. I mean, I would much rather go to Green Bay than I'd rather go to San Francisco with the way those teams are playing. So, you're rooting for the Vikings to be the worst seed, so they have to go play San Francisco, and the winner of this game can go and play Green Bay. I mean, that's a huge deal. Gentlemen, I mean, you know where my heart lies here. I mean, you know where I'm going. I mean, I'm going with my Eagles.
Jets,
Cody,
they're not in the
go Eagles. I mean, I just. I think they have maybe another small run in them, and I think that the home crowd in Philly, I've been a part of it, is just something that
Philly's
unparalleled.
Philly reminds me of remember the Bills when they went on that run for 4 straight Super Bowls. And it was sometimes the Bills look like they weren't going to do much, and they get in the playoffs, and then they make that run. Mm-hmm. And they get in that playoff, and they get really good.
Yeah, they just got to get there. Yep.
It's a new season. You're 0-0 now.
Yep.
Yeah. You're 0-0. The only thing that your record decided from last week, at the end of last Sunday, the only thing that decided was where you're going to play this game. So you played 17 weeks to decide where a game was going to be played.
Out of these teams listed here on WildCard Weekend, who's the team that you think will be a surprise, take a run for it?
I don't think it's a surprise, but I would have to go with the Saints.
I was like, it's not really a surprise from this weekend.
I guess eliminating if you take the Saints and Patriots out, because it'd be easy to pick the Patriots. I'm looking at these dark horse teams Buffalo. I look at Philly
Okay, so who's your dark horse team that could go on and run if they win this weekend? All right, I like that question.
Out of these remaining, you got basically Houston or Seattle to be the only 2 that stick out.
Are you saying you're picking Seattle?
I'm going to pick Seattle this week. Yeah.
You're picking Seattle for this game, but
yes, for this.
But who would be that? Did Seattle be that dark horse team that you think could make a run to go all the way?
Great coaching staff. They're I think they're going to the physicality of that team is what's going to beat Philly.
Philly again. If they get those guys back, they could make a good run. And they could knock
Zach Ertz is a huge weapon for them.
Huge. And you also have to remember
a
that
broken rib is no joke. He takes one solid hit anywhere near that region, and he's out there the rest of the game.
And so is
Goddard's good, man. Goddard's a good one.
Goddard's been playing great. That guy's been playing like insane. But then Alshon Jeffrey spreads the field. He's a big physical wide receiver that they really missed last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he played that game last week against the Giants, he would have torched them. Mm-hmm. So you got Alshon Jeffrey, Aguilar, who when he's on, he can play really, really well.
Nelson Aguilar.
So I just think like now you got a whole different group of weapons, and so if they come back and Seattle's running game's not.
Now, this is a rematch. Don't forget, they played in Philly earlier in the year. Seahawks won 17-9. So.
Yeah, it's so John, I appreciate that number. What week was it?
Let's see. That's 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12.
12. That's a good. I mean, that's honestly not a bad barometer because Philly was a little bit in the healthy range in that time.
Yeah,
but I think it's just a totally different team. I think this is like that flip switching team that like it's the playoffs. Let's go.
Yeah, they don't care how they get there. I mean, like the former with the Giants, with the fucking Patriots years ago, it didn't matter how they got there. Once they got there, yeah.
And kudos to that.
Slate's clean.
And kudos to that coaching staff for keeping this team believing and fighting.
Yeah,
going through the adversity and
right. You have to in the NFC East.
And
you have to.
Past 2 years, they look like they're going to get crushed going into playoffs, and they won. Last year, they beat the Bears. They went on, and then like I just feel like this team, they catch that win going into playoffs. They're the team that they could be a.
They're the team to watch out for. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I agree. But I'm
getting healthy at the right time. I'm still going with the Seahawks because
same here.
Russell Wilson. But
yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm going Eagles, so I disagree. But at the same time, this is good. I think this is going to be your game of the weekend.
I'm glad this is the 4:00, the 4:40 game.
I like these matchups. Though.
Good for the NFL too, by the way, making that a 4:00 game, not going the 4 and 8 thing. Good for the NFL. Let the kids watch the game. This is it's exciting. I mean, leave it at 1 and 4 on a Sunday. You can go 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. It's a weekend.
Right.
I like that. This is making that more of an appeal to younger kids, and it's this is not a football related thing, but I do want to make a statement to a guy who pushed sports in that direction, who just passed away, was David Stern, the old commissioner of the NBA. Mm-hmm. He was a big international guy and also playing conducive to younger kids. They're the future of the game. That's why this schedule, you look at some of the NBA schedules, the playoff game schedules in the NBA, you notice that's why it's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's a little bit earlier. The time slots move up a little bit. They don't play on West Coast times. All right, and that's something that's a good thing, and it looks like the NFL is kind of taking note to that. So that's an excitement.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's the thing. You can stay up a little bit later. You're not. Kids aren't going to school, so that is something I look for that a lot in sports because it's something that I was
going to say Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball does not do. They do not do it. They'll start a playoff game at 8:45 at night. You're not producing for the next generation. I think that's a. I give the NFL a lot.
And not even like the young kids, but like the parents that have.
I mean, people have to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and one other note when we were talking about the coaching tree that I wanted to make another Pete Carroll disciple is getting a chance in New York. Kind of a quiet. He's a minority candidate, and NFL has the Rooney Rule. But he is a viable option. Is Dallas's offensive coordinator and Dallas's pass game coordinator and running backs coach Chris Richard, who was in Seattle for a long time with Pete Carroll. Very good coach. Getting his chance to interview with a couple different entities as well.
It makes sense.
Is he going for head coaching?
Yes, he'll be. Yeah, he's going for the head coaching job. And I would say too,
but they're not interviewing him in Dallas, which is kind of weird. That you're gonna like.
He can't yet.
I know.
But
so you would think that
Yeah.
They would probably want to lock up their own if that's,
And if you ask me who's going to be the next, I was doing a little research while you guys were chatting earlier. If you're asking me who would be the next offensive coordinator in Chicago, it would be one of two guys for me. It would be either Pat Shurmur, now that he is jobless, or interesting guy who might take over in Kansas City if Bieniemy gets a job, but I would try to get all over him right now, is Mike Kafka, the quarterbacks coach, former Eagles quarterback, former Andy Reid player, disciple, Northwestern quarterback, smart dude. Quarterbacks coach for the Kansas City Chiefs now. Makes sense. He worked with Nagy. So
it just seems
he was that quarterbacks coach. Bieniemy was the running backs coach, and Nagy was the OC. Jesus. Sweet Jesus.
They didn't win. They didn't even make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like that's,
so
again, that lineage we were talking about.
Yeah. And I think we're going to have a lot of clarity next week on when we come back next Thursday on head coaches.
Yeah.
I think Urban Meyer could be hired by the weekend in Cleveland.
Well,
maybe Dallas will have a.
Yeah, well, I think we'll definitely have an answer on where Jason Garrett is. I mean, who knows? It could be a dog
the 9th. I still think I think he's going to let it go till the 14th.
Yeah.
So if they, and that might be it too, though. Do they lose any kind of money if they fire him?
No. It wouldn't be fire. It would be probably an even trade off. What they would probably do is say he's not returning and let the contract run out, and then start interviewing candidates.
That's why I was asking if maybe because the contract was going to run out, if they fired him, they'd have to owe him something, but let the contract run out. They said, well, we didn't fire him, we just didn't renew it.
Yeah. No, he would just when you see that Jason Garrett is not going to be the head coach of the Cowboys next year, it'll be worded that Jason Garrett will not return as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
So Freddie Kitchens will be the head coach of the
Exactly. And Tim Tebow will be his OC.
Oh. Yeah, there you go.
So.
All right, guys, let's get ready for this weekend. We got some great games ready for WildCard weekend. So then Caleb will be, 2 games behind us?
Yeah, right. Fuck off.
All right, so we're going to get out of here, close it out. See you next week.
Peace.
Bye.
Disruption Network is teaming up with 92.7 FM The Drive. So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar, brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.